I wish you luck in realizing your ambition.
Hey everyone, it's BlueLizardJello and welcome back to Everything Possible in Elden Ring. Last time we met Roderica, the Heartbroken Maiden, we collected some new spirit summons, and we finally got a new crystal tear for our Flask of Wondrous Physic. Now today we're going to continue on the adventure we began last time, and I'm not even going to attempt to draw it on the map because I frankly have no idea how far we're going to get today. Last time I thought we were going to make it throughout all of Northern Limgrave, and I was woefully mistaken. But oh wait, before we go off, Blue, you always gotta remember, here are my stats. If you want to pause at any time, go ahead. If you want to take a closer look at our levels, we do have a lot of runes, but we're saving them because we're going to be running into a merchant, and when we get there we want at least 9,700 runes to buy everything that he has to offer. For my equipment, trying something just a little bit new just to show it off, we have the flail, the short bow, some fire arrows, my trusty heater shield. We're actually going to get a direct upgrade to this heater shield in this episode. For armor, I have the chain draped tabard, Caden gauntlets, and the aristocrat boots. I'm still using the blue dancer charm. It's still only giving me a couple of points of extra scaling damage. And then I have the typical health and FP flasks, some fire grease, bone darts, and holy water pots. We'll be making more of these here in a bit. Right. So last time we head up this way, and we actually ended just over here to the east of the Stormhill Shack. By the way, just so you can actually see where we're at, we did just start at the Stormhill Shack Site of Grace. Over on this little outcropping is where we picked up the Strength Knot Crystal Tear, just behind that giant. And might as well get some sheep whenever we can. There we go, great. Keep collecting those thin beast bones. Now with the flail, of course, it does have the innate bleed buildup, and that's what I'm hoping to show off today. What we're doing is we're riding under this divine bridge, and we're going to be heading towards that large building there. That is the Colosseum. That Colosseum is now open. I am playing offline, but if you are looking for some PvP, there are several Colosseums. I believe there are 3 of them. Frankly, I need to still look into them so I can speak about them, but this is now open to the public, so to speak. This was open in patch 1.08. One thing that has not changed, however, is that as you approach the Colosseum, similar to when we were in the Murkwater Ravine, we are automatically dismounted from Torrent, and the reason is we are about to be invaded. And this invader is Recusant Henricus. Now, Recusant Henricus is using the Great Mace with the Eruption skill. See if I can't get him to use that for us. And I completely forgot to change over to my Stormwall Ash of War. I'm only realizing that now. He's also wearing the Eye Surcoat. There's Eruption, a pretty cool looking skill. We can get that much later on. Now, the reason I'm pointing out what he's wearing is because that particular surcoat indicates that he might be a spy for a particular quote-unquote all-knowing NPC that we have yet to meet. We'll meet him once we get to the Round Table Hold. Now, with Henricus, we can parry him. Just be a little bit careful because you'll take quite a bit of damage if you don't successfully parry, but I'll try it. You can see just how much stamina damage I took there. There is a successful parry. There is the riposte. Now the mace isn't going to do a whole lot of parry damage, but we get some good roll catches. We can also try and use Spinning Chain on him, which can really do a great job at building up that bleed. And let's see if we can finish him off with a jumping R2. We sure can. And that is the Recusant Henricus. When he is down, we will get our flask refilled, we'll get some runes, but we also get the Hammer Talisman, a talisman that frankly has, in my opinion, and I'm sure in the comments you will tell me how wrong I am, and that's okay because I learned a lot from those comments, it is a very limited use. The effect is that it enhances stamina, reducing attacks against blockers, only against enemies or other players that are blocking. This is not extra stance or stagger damage, it is only stamina reducing attacks against blockers. Hammers are highly effective against shield-bearing foes, so much so that they are known as night killers. Now, I will say in patch 1.07, this got a massive buff. It used to do an extra 20% of stamina reducing damage against shielded opponents. It now does 40%. I mean, they actually doubled its effectiveness. Is it effective? More so than it was, but I'm still going to say it's going to be situational at the very least. There are some turtling enemies in the game, but most of them are going to open themselves up for attack after just a little bit of turtling, so use at your own discretion. Over here at the Coliseum though, let me hop on Torrent, we do have this one shiny. There actually used to be a ghost here known as the Frustrated Spirit who would give you these items, but after patch 1.08 when the Coliseums were open, they now replaced him with this corpse, and we get the small red effigy and the Duelist Furled Finger. The small red effigy, again, used to be given by the ghost. This places a red summon sign down at summoning pools, and it allows you to be summoned for PvP. Remember the summoning pools that we've seen? We do have the small golden effigy that allows us to do co-op around those summoning pools. This is the PvP version of that effigy. And then the Duelist Furled Finger, it will place a red summon sign down wherever you place it, and it allows other people to, again, summon you for PvP. So if that is your deal, go right ahead. It is not for me, however. So we are actually going to follow kind of the edge of this Coliseum here, still under the bridge. There's not a whole lot in this area, so we're actually just going to spend a good bit of time riding through it. We do have some Guillemots up here on the rocks. I'm going to see if I can't get some kills on them just to try and get some more foul feet. And just some flight pinions, that's a-okay. We do have quite a bit over there to do, but before we do that, over here, just beyond these eagles, I have to give credit where credit is due. I've practiced this route now several times. I've had the notes written for over 2 weeks, and I've gone through it and even streamed the practice just to show what I've learned so far. But it wasn't until this most recent stream, which, by the way, if you're not subscribed and you don't have the notifications turned on, please do so, because I would love to have you join our live streams. Someone was actually watching the VOD, the video on demand of my stream after the fact, and they pointed out that I missed an item, and I've never before seen this particular item before. So thank you to Oreo EX9. If you're watching this, you're the one who saved my bacon on this, because up above these rocks and over on this platform, we're going to put our shield up because we do have one foot soldier up here. Let's break these wooden bundles, knock him down. So not only do we have an item up here on this ledge, but it is actually a trio of soporific grease. There is not a lot of soporific grease in this entire game, and if it's soporific and not soporific, I apologize. Again, comments below, you know what to do. But you only get a handful of these throughout the entire game. You can craft them eventually, but it's going to take some time. But the soporific grease, it is applied to your armaments, your melee weapons, and it helps to inflict sleep for a short period of time. This is actually really, really good. It adds 33 sleep buildup to your weapon, and for any enemy that is weak to sleep, which we are going to see some here relatively soon, that is a phenomenal get this early on. So again, Oreo EX9, you know who you are. Thank you so much for calling that out. I appreciate it. Let's head back on Torrent, and now we're going to be heading over here. You can see that one teardrop scarab on top of the ruins, but first, we do have a captain over here. This captain is atop his steed, and we want to get the item that he has, because he has a unique Ash of War, something that we're going to find very, very useful. So I'm going to treat it just like I do the Caden Warriors. I'm going to aim for the horse, get a few really good hits. Okay, maybe one more and then we'll hop off. There we go. And there's the kill. And on his corpse we actually got the Godric Knight Gauntlets, but we also got the Ash of War Golden Vow. Let's take a look at this new Ash of War. This skill can be used on any melee weapon. As long as the weapon can have its skill change, Golden Vow can be applied to it, including a very small lightweight dagger. So having Golden Vow with just a dagger in your possession is going to help any build, because it increases attack power and defense, not just for you, but for anyone in the vicinity. So if you're co-oping, someone should have Golden Vow on them at all times. It lasts for 45 seconds, it increases damage by 11.5%, and it gives you 7.5% damage negation. Now if you use the Sacred Affinity, which as we've seen you don't have to, it adds holy damage to your weapon, so it's going to be split physical and holy damage, and it adds faith scaling. Note, this holy damage is not enough to kill skeletons who resurrect. You still need to have certain ashes of war or certain skills in order to keep them down, or use something like a holy water pot. But we'll absolutely be putting this into play. Next, let's go take care of this teardrop scarab that's on top of these ruins. And if he hops down, which I'm sure he will, not a big deal because I just like to fall down, hit him with a plunge, and get the kill there for a somber smithing stone level 1. And then over here, I cannot explain what's going on, but we have a field burning with a couple of magma slimes. Let's go ahead and take care of them nice and quickly. But what's most important about this area is you have smoldering butterflies just absolutely all over the place, and you can rest at the nearest site of grace, come back and collect these ad nauseum. And you can see many times you'll actually get more than one, which is very, very useful. If we head this way, so it's southwest, it's going to be taking us back towards the Stormhill shack, and it'll bring us through this forested area. There are a few wolf ambushes. There are no items in there, but there is a particular building we'll be going to. But first, what I'm actually going to do is head over to this cliff face, and we're going to take a look down below. We have this camp here. We have some foot soldiers. There's a captain over there. There's some dogs. There's also an item over there on that ruin. So I'm actually going to get back on Torrent, and we're just going to hop over, take care of this owl, get a slumbering egg, and over here we get the lance, a really fun weapon. It's a bit heavy for my liking. It does weigh 9. It does require 20 strength or 14 in order to two-hand it, 14 dexterity. It is a quality weapon with slightly higher strength scaling, and it has a charge forth skill. Let's go ahead and show this off just because it actually is a really, really useful skill for closing in distance. So if we use charge forth, that's how far we go. But as you can see from the description of it, if you hold it, you'll cover a greater distance. It does take 16 FP, so it's a little bit expensive, but if we hold it, just look how far you can go. And there can be multiple hits within that charge. Really fun weapon, really fun to use that on horseback. But let's survey the land. We have a couple of foot soldiers up there. We have some that are patrolling. There is the captain with a couple of dogs. Over here, even more foot soldiers, more dogs patrolling, and some other foot soldiers down below. So there are quite a few enemies here. And it is also booby-trapped. So if we hop down behind this building, you can see I almost landed on it. We've seen those before. Tripping those is going to get, maybe not the entire camp, but the majority of the camp coming our way. So instead, what I'd like to do is wait for this one foot soldier to make his way back here. Hopefully we're hiding enough in this bush. And we're just going to start picking some of them off one at a time. There we go. From here, if I can, I want to try and hit this one with a bone dart, which we can. Let's just bring them along back here. Again, making sure that we are not tripping any alarms. This is the patient way to play. It's not the most action-packed, I understand. And you know what? We're just going to kill him with bone darts. Maybe not. I didn't realize they were that weak when he was actually aware. Got some foot soldier greaves. So from here, what I'd like to do is actually go around the front now. Again, making sure that we're not hitting these alarms, which are pretty cleverly placed. Just got to pay attention to the ground. Especially in the front here, there are quite a few. So there's one immediately to my left. We also have an enemy right here. So we're going to actually dash out, we're going to kill him, and then we're going to go get these enemies that are up on the rocks. We have smoldering butterflies, some more bolts. And now I'm not too worried here. If we need to block, we can do so with our heater shield. Oh, unfortunately was completely out of stamina there. Come on, doggo. Luckily, we got the bleed on him. To be honest, this is certainly not my choice of weapon. In my practice, I was not using the flail, but I decided just to show off something different. And I do like to show variety in these walkthroughs. Now we're going to head around here. What we need to do, though, I do need to have a couple of fire bombs. So we have one. Let's make at least one more. And I'll show you why here in just a moment. Because around here, the captain is quietly sitting with his pups, and if we get the aim right, that worked out fairly well. We actually hit the captain, which is not what we wanted, but that should be okay. Now I'm going to attempt to guard counter him, although he's going to do quite a lot of stamina damage here. There we have it. Broke my guard though, so back up. Get all my stamina back. See if we can't bait one of those attacks again. Okay, almost have him. And there is the kill on the captain. Perfect. So let's just do another guard counter on this foot soldier and completely whip it, because I do have to say, the flail has one of the worst guard counters in the game. And that's alright. The main threat is gone. Got some more foot soldier gauntlets. Using my flask, we are going to get refilled at the end of this camp anyway. Now let's just do a little bit of looting. Both dogs drop some. And of course we could be... Oh, we got some beast blood there. We could be using summons. Here's some exalted flesh. And you know what? I think just for fun, just because we are here, why not? This is strictly for fun, completely unnecessary. I'm going to summon Aurelia, our spirit jellyfish that we got from Roderica. And then let's just call some friends over. Okay, let's see if we can get her to do some poison. There we have it. And not quite poisoned yet, though. Alright, we'll let her do her thing while we take care of this one. Alright. Well, nope, wrong one. I appreciate the effort. There's the headbutt. This may take a while. Let's go finish looting then, while Aurelia is taking care of our light work. Over here, this is that direct upgrade to the heater shield I was talking about, the Beast Crest heater shield. So when I say it's a direct upgrade, here is what I mean. Yes, this has 100% physical damage negation, but it's only a guard boost of 49, whereas the Beast Crest has 100 physical with 51 guard boost. And if you want to compare, all you need to do is make sure that you have the item selected and then go over to the one you possibly might switch it for, and if it is white, it's the same. If it's blue, it's better. If it's red, it is worse. So we can see this has better magic, better lightning damage negation, slightly worse holy. But it again is a direct upgrade, and I am actually going to switch it out for now. You will see me using both of these here soon, but only when we put on some specific Ashes of War. Make sure we take care of this dog right here. There is the bleed proc, and that is the camp finished. So we got our flask back. That is absolutely perfect. That is what we want to see. Now from here, we could continue down that way. That'll lead us to a bridge with a new NPC. You can see a statue of roses. But before we do that, we're actually going to backtrack and start making our way somewhat back to the Stormhill site of grace. So let's get on Torrent. There are some crafting materials through here. As I said, there are a few wolf ambushes, so just be prepared for that. There are also some lookout stones, some deers that you can hunt. Right up this way, if you take that, that's going to lead up to the Colosseum. Alright, might as well take these out since they are now here. And they're not too bad. Only a single hit, even with my unupgraded flail. No thin beast bones. But there is the next site of grace, and I will be activating it. I'm not going to rest at it, because I don't want to actually get any more enemies respawning. Let's just kill them. One more. We got a jumpy wolf. No drops from any of those, and that is okay. So this is the War Master Shack. Before we actually go and talk to the NPC that's inside, I do want to show off two things. Number one is over here, you have some root resin. And I believe there's actually more. I thought there was more than one. Well, some gold-tinged excrement. Okay, there we go. So there's at least 3 by these trees. Resting at that site of grace is going to respawn it. But also, just above here, and this is going to come in handy very, very soon, you hop up the rocks, and you go right into this little field, and we have 6 tarnished golden sunflowers, which is excellent for creating those holy water pots that I like so much, and we're going to like them even more in just a minute. We also have this owl, but all we need to do is rest at that site of grace, and we have quick access to 2 incredibly useful ingredients. Lots of trolls that way. We'll get there in just a little bit. But if we hop down here, again, we're just going to activate. We're not going to sit yet. And inside, we have Bernahl.
Not seen you before. Name's Bernahl. Tarnished, just like you. Let me ask you something. Are you here in the lands between to take up the fight? Does your faith in the guidance of grace hold firm, despite the collapse of the Golden Order?
Saying that my faith holds firm or I'm not sure is irrelevant. The quest will continue, his dialogue will continue. You get one slightly altered bit of dialogue depending on which one you choose.
Honest to a fault, I see. Such thoughts won't behoove you as a tarnished, but there's nothing wrong with that. Any interest in bearing the torch of my battle arts? All I know is the sword. Picked up a fair few tricks in my time, too. Now's the time to pass them on. To a good tarnished like you.
Knight Bernahl is going to be the one who sells us our initial batch of Ashes of War, and he has quite a few, and this is why we were holding on to our runes. If you want to buy all of these, and I do, it is going to cost 9,700 runes. We have an extra 1,000 runes to spare at this time. So we have the stamp Upward Cut, very similar to the other stamps we've seen. We have the Kick, which is really nice because this can actually break guard very, very easily, especially if someone's turtling. You don't even need the Hammer Talisman. We have Endure. This will actually increase your poise for a small bit of time, which is really nice. You have the War Cry. While active, strong attacks change to charging attacks. This is usable on melee weapons other than daggers, thrusting swords, and whips. You have the Spinning Slash. We've seen this on the curved swords. You have Impaling Thrust. This is the original skill that was on the Great Ape. Let me tell you, I was convinced that Impaling Thrust on the Lord Zorn's Greatsword is one of the best combinations early game, and we're going to see that in action very soon. You also have the Quick Step. This is a skill that is returned from Dark Souls 3, allows you to very, very quickly step around, and even though it does technically cost FP, even once you've run out of FP, you can continue to use that. But you have Stormblade, and this is one of the greatest early skills you can have. If you couple this with a curved sword and run power stancing curved swords with this in one hand and maybe Golden Vow in the other, you are a force to be reckoned with. This will actually surround the armament with shearing storm winds, and then it fires it straight forward, and it can be fired in rapid succession. The beautiful thing is, it is not dependent on your weapon's damage. Again, just like Golden Vow, you put this on a lightweight weapon like a dagger, and you can still get the same damage output from Stormblade. A lot of fun. Then you have the parry skill. We know about parries, but now we can put it on a shield that may not already have it. But possibly most importantly, we have the no skill Ash of War. This is when you should be leaving comments down below about how I already possess no skill, and I will laugh at each one, I promise, while I cry on the inside. But this really is a beautiful skill to have because it is usable on both shields and torches, mind you, and that way you can hold one in your left hand but still use the skill of the weapon in your right hand. Put this on a torch while you're going through some dark catacombs, some dark caverns, and it will still allow you to use the skill of the sword or the mace in your right hand. Very, very useful indeed.
There's a myriad of battle arts in these lands that I've yet to discover. Mementos of all the warriors who raised their arms in battle, lost and died. A fine tale, all told of true chivalric romance. That's how I fell in love with the sword and the arts of combat. It grants meaning even to falling in battle, to death itself. Well, until we meet again.
And we will, in fact, meet again. He does have a bit of his own quest once we get to a much later area. I should probably rest just to clear this up. Now, again, I like to point out what happens if you attack or kill an NPC. And if you kill Bernahl here, well, there's no real consequences except missing out on his quest later on. He will drop his bell bearing, which, as we've mentioned before, you can give that to a merchant at the Round Table Hold, meaning whatever he was selling can now be purchased from that merchant. He will also drop his Beast Champion helm, his altered armor, and his gauntlets and greaves, and the Devourer's Scepter. Now, he's not currently using or wielding a Devourer's Scepter. In fact, if I attack him now, he's going to attack me with that weapon, which is the Zweihander, a fan favorite. But we wouldn't get it from him, we can get that elsewhere, but we get the Devourer's Scepter. There's some fascinating information you can get if you do kill him and you get his armor, which again, we can get later on. It says that an oath, see nothing, hear nothing, doubt nothing, and carry on along the path set in stone. It really showcases Bernahl's steadfastness, but also possibly his ignorance and naivety in what he is pursuing. And we're going to see that shared pretty commonly with the other members of this area that we have yet to go through. But if you're looking for a big, heavy hammer, the Devourer's Scepter is a great hammer. And I do mean it is a great hammer. It deals both physical and fire damage. It requires 24 strength or 16 to two-hand, 20 dexterity, and 25 faith. So a lot of stats to go into it. But the skill is something called the Devourer of Worlds, which steals hit points from all nearby enemies. It is a legendary armament, so if you're going after that achievement or trophy, you will need to get that scepter, but again, you can get it without killing him here. But the scepter also mentions a Lord Rykard, someone we haven't talked about, but more on that to come. There's also something else that happens here, and I would be remiss if I didn't show it off, but I'm going to tell you right now, we are not going to be fighting this boss. In fact, what I'm going to do is over here in the map, I'm going to pull up my marker, and I'm going to drop another skull, indicating that there is in fact a boss here. I'm going to rest. I'm now going to pass the time to nightfall, and sometimes this does take multiple attempts, but after it's nightfall, I'm going to stand. You can see that Bernahl is still waiting for us. I'm going to rest. He's still there, so I'm actually going to pass the time one more time. In practice, sometimes this took multiple attempts. It was kind of like the Patches quest in that manner. Still there, let's stand, let's rest. And it doesn't seem to want to activate. That is peculiar. Let me try talking to him again and then resting.
Hello. Here to learn. Well.
And we could be getting the root resins all this time. And look at that. He's now gone. Something's about to happen. And when we approach where he would have been, someone is about to spawn. This is a recurring boss that only appears at night, typically near merchants. This is a bell-bearing hunter. It is possible for us to kill the bell-bearing hunter here, but I don't recommend it. The nice thing is, if you do want to attempt it, there really is no harm, no foul, because if we die, and we will die, our runes will be right here, right next to the site of grace, and it is going to respawn us here in the morning, meaning Bernahl will be back and he will be gone. So, let's take a look at the bell-bearing hunter. Well, I tried to parry him. I can't parry most of those attacks anyway. He is parryable, but he's something that we're going to come back for at another time. But again, as I said, it is nothing you really need to concern yourself with if you want to try it, because you can always just get your runes, reset the time to evening, and then you can just come back. Now, to show you where we're at, here is the War Master Shack. There is the Stormhill Shack. So far we have just done this little jaunt right here. we do still want to tackle this little area as well as all of this. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to beeline back towards the Stormhill shack. There are some Caden warriors here, and then we're going to circle back around this way and then tackle the rest of it kind of from that direction. That is the plan. But you know what? It would be a bit foolish if I didn't at least collect this root resin, and I do want those tarnished golden sunflowers. We're going to be using holy water pots quite a bit. So let's grab these. Did I get them all? I sure did. Beautiful. Now, something very interesting. I do love a bit of environmental storytelling, but this is a story that I haven't been able to figure out, and that is just over beyond the Wardmaster shack, there is this lone noble sorcerer who's just crouched in the bushes. I don't know if he's just doing his business or if he's just minding his own business. But he's here, and I can't for the life of me tell you why. We do have a couple of Caden warriors though. Let's go ahead and deal with them one at a time, if at all possible. So let's pull him using the bone darts. There's the backstab, just roll through that attack. And you know what? Let's do some spinning chain. And look at that bleed. It is beautiful. Let's try that again, shall we? Okay, no backstab that time. There it is, though. When he does that large ground slam, is a perfect opportunity. And there is that bleed. When that procs, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So we got 5 fire arrows. Just above there is the troll that was guarding the strength knot tier, just to put it all together for you. There is the Stormhill Site of Grace and shack. And what we're going to do is we're just going to drop down here. We're finally going to go and take care of that one area. Just dropping down right here. The area on the other side of that broken ruin bridge. There's going to be some wolves. There's also going to be that troll that we can deal with. But over here, with these odd noble corpses that seemingly were just sitting around in a circle, possibly praying to the cosmos, we get 3 more smithing stone level 1s. Now let's take care of these wolves really quickly. In fact, you know what we can do? We got the short bow. We could just start doing a little bit of horseback archery, which is a lot of fun. There we go. Another one up here. Of course, this is the alpha, so it's going to take a little bit more. Just get our mace out. There we have it. Don't fall off. He might actually fall off if I don't get him in time. There we go. Thin beast bones. We have smoldering butterflies times 5 on that corpse. Let's loot this right here. Now, over here, I showed off this item in the last episode. If you don't want to fight the troll, you absolutely don't have to. Instead, what I'm going to do is just crouch, grab all these shinies here, most of which are just going to be ruin fragments. Every now and then you'll get a sanctuary stone. But if we're careful, we can just walk right here, grab the golden rune level 2. Why they deem that to be such an important treasure is beyond me. He is too concerned with waiting for other tarnished to ambush to be worried about us, so we can just head back up top. Let's head on Torrent. Ooh, don't forget to loot this wolf there. More thin beast bones. Again, always appreciated. So to give you an idea of where we're at, hopefully this is starting to connect the dots for you. But just down there, that is the Gatefront Ruins. Over there, that is where the Fulgur Bloom was, so that's where all the lightning is. And there is the Field of Trolls that we're going to be heading into here in just a moment. But first, we do have this octopus pond. The octopus pond, there's no fireflies here. You could get a flask refill if you're desperate, or if you're hunting for land octopus ovaries, or if you want that coveted helm. You absolutely could go through and farm all these. I just don't see that it is worth it. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to go and start taking on all of these trolls one at a time. This is not the most effective way to farm. I can tell you that right now, but the bleed will be nice. Watch for the foot slams. We still can knock him down with this weapon, it's just not very effective. Okay, watch for the jump. Good hit on his head there. Yeah, this is really ineffective. I may just go ahead and switch back over to the Lord Sword and Greatsword, but we did just get the bleed and we got the knockdown, which is nice. And if he does us a favor and pulls his sword out, which he's not. Now he is. I knew that was gonna hit me. And we are in some trouble now. Get on Torrent. Well, I did not expect that to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to warp back over to Stormhill Shack. I'll get my runes and I'll meet you back there. While I'm here, I'm actually going to change the skill on our Beast Crest Heater Shield over to the no skill. And then we're going to head back over to those giants, and I'm going to be using the Flask of Wonders Physic, which will give us an extra 10 strength, and that way I can only one-hand this weapon and still be just as effective. So let's drop down here. So we got the smithing stones from these enemies. We do have the octopus pond over here. One thing I can do while I'm here though is, see these lookout stones? Just beyond them, we do have a sarcophagus field. We see these periodically throughout the game, but they will always contain a number of golden runes. So let's just ride through and collect all these. Golden rune 1. Another golden rune 1. Now, the lookout stones that are already in a pile like this, get close to them and then run away because they will explode. Another golden rune 1. Drops a rune fragment for us. There's a level 5, which is very nice. Another exploding one. Golden rune 3. And a level 2. Level 1, almost done here. And a level 2. Let's just make him explode. And now, taking a look at the compass up at the top, there's our runes. I do not want to get those octopus involved again if I can help it. Let's just drop down here. So we're going to grab these. I'm going to use the flask. And then we're going to run up here. Hopefully he's going to yell at us. He sure is. That is unfortunate for me. Oh. This could be good or bad depending on how I time it. We want to just knock him down. But because we're not two-handing, we're not getting nearly the stagger potential. And hopefully he's going to pull his sword out. And I just somehow missed. After every troll, by the way, you're going to get a flask refill, so there's really no reason not to just spam heals if you need it. Like now. Okay, he's going to do his big combo. Just roll through. Just keep rolling through his legs. And... almost got him. Okay, so there's one dead. I am probably going to speed some of this up because there are a total of 5 here. I do want to kill them all, but we also need one of them to come and break this statue for us. We only see a handful of these in the game, but anytime you do, look for the biggest enemy nearby and get them to come and attack you. Okay, that works for me. This way. If we get too far, they're just going to use their roar attack, which is not what we want. There is a statue broken. And give me something I can punish. Thank you for that. stamp. There is the knockdown. Get that critical going. And I'm going to switch over to two-hand just because I like the two-hand charge R2 a lot better. There's the knockdown for the second time. We really want to get the contents of this statue. And there we have it, troll number 2. And with that, we get, if I can actually pick it up, there it is, 5 level 1 smithing stones and level 2 smithing stone. So I'm going to speed up this footage and kill these last 3, and then we'll talk about what is next. There we have it. Another option is you can actually get them to fight each other. Not that they will actually be aggressive towards each other, but if you can get them to fight close enough, their attacks will actually damage each other, which can be really nice, but honestly, aggroing more than one can be more trouble than it is worth. Now, I did see a skull over here that I want to collect. There we have it. Some more fragments up here. Oh yeah, there's a sanctuary stone. Actually, a couple of those. Great. And there was an item just over here, just under this precipice that this one was guarding. And we have a beast liver. Very, very nice. Right here. Something is going to happen here at night. I know, everything happens at night. It's sad that there's actually no, another sanctuary stone. There's actually no daytime only events, sadly. But we need to come back here when it is evening, and we're gonna do just that. And we'll do that here in a moment. First, there is the camp where we got the Beastcrest heater shield. Let's head over this way. Here is the statue of roses that we saw from the ground. So let's activate that. You can see it's pointing just over there. There is, of course, a catacombs. We'll be getting that site of grace here in a moment. And then over here, we've actually been here before, just on the other side of those rocks, because we jumped up here from the spirit spring down below.
Hello? Hello? Anyone?
And that NPC is talking to us. I'm going to put on a rainbow stone just to double check that this is a safe drop. You know the drill.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Okay, it is safe. And just to make sure that I don't take any damage, I'm going to make a single piece of soft cotton. Apply it just like so. Obviously not entirely necessary, but it allows us to not take any fall damage, which is nice. Again, doesn't actually increase the lethal height. But folks, this is Iron Pot Warrior Alexander.
Oh, my stars. I'm so happy to see you. I am Alexander, also known as the Iron Fist. And as you can see, I'm stuck here. Please, can you help me out of this?
I don't know why you'd ever say no, but if you do say no, you can just talk to him again and change your mind. By the way, make sure you talk to him before you do what I'm about to do.
My thanks. 1,000 thanks. Just give me a good smack from the rear with something nice and big. And I'll pop clean out, I'm sure. Don't dally. No, there's no need to fret. I'm very well trained. Give it your all, I say.
Now that we've talked to him, and he clearly got stuck here and he wants out, so just stand behind him and give him a few charge R2s. Oh, this dragonfly, ruining what would have been a really fun experience with Alexander. And I'm not even hitting him with my bone darts. What an absolute waste. But we get the triumphant delight, and now we can talk to him yet again.
Well played, good lady. Well played. Though that mighty wallop of yours almost spelled the end of me. Well, I'm out now, and that's what counts. I thank you. And as a token of my appreciation, I'd like you to have this.
And he gives us a piece of exalted flesh, and you might think, wow, what a great gift. Hold that thought until towards the end of the game when we find out a little bit more about the warrior pots.
Once again, the pleasure is mine. I am the warrior Jar known as Alexander. Iron Fist Alexander, in fact. I journey to the east, where I intend to further my education in the ways of war. And beyond these lands lie the scarlet, rot-blighted Caelid wilds. And upon their southern edge is Redmane Castle, in which a festival of combat is being held. I'd heard whispers of such festivities before. Doesn't the notion set your breast aflutter?
Redmane Castle, Caelid, all places we will come to explore, and we'll have to somewhat follow in Alexander's footsteps.
I'm heading eastward to Redmane, I've heard.
Bit of a festival going on at Redmane Castle. How interesting. How interesting indeed. Now we're nearly done with this episode and with this area, but first we have yet another octopus area. This time around, at the very least, we do have a Trina's Lily around here somewhere. Let's actually kill this giant octopus just so we can look for it safely. Just dismembering the arms and then charge R2s to bring him down. And immediately just go right back into the charge R2 for yet another. And we're killing the small ones while we're at it, so we may end up getting that helm after all, who knows. And one final knockdown, there's the critical. And again, typically I don't do this unless we actually need the ovaries. Let's see, ovary, what else? Might as well just kill them all at this point. I just think it would be so fun if we actually got that helm to drop. Alright, well, we're not going to kill them all. Looks like there is no such luck. And I apologize, I had it in my notes that there was a Trina's Lily here, but clearly I must have been mistaken. Now, let's ride to the edge, though, and let's see exactly where we are at, just so you can put it together, and then we just have one more big encounter to do before we wrap up. There is that teardrop scarab. We've already seen it. I'm not too worried about it. We are topped off. There is a lesser pumpkinhead on the bridge here. We're going to tackle him next time. But just down here, in fact, you know what? Let's jump down just to show you. This is the ravine that led to High Road Cave, and we have, again, been up here before. Quite some time ago. Let's do this. Let's hop down. We're going to grab a Site of Grace. Just here. And then we're going to hop on Torrent. We're going to ride up the hill. This is going to lead us to that camp with the Beast Crest heater shield, but we're going to take this path off to the right. We're actually going to head in the direction that the statue of Roses was showing us. So just up here. There's not a whole lot going on here, except here is the catacombs. There is supposed to be a ghost here. And now I'm wondering if they only appear at night, and shame on me if I didn't actually know that, and I'm learning right now. Let's try that. Let's actually turn it to evening. We want it to be night here in a moment anyway. I normally do come here when it's evening. And would you look at that? I actually didn't know that. Unthinkable. our hallowed resting place is violated. To refuse the Erdtree's call to return to live within death. Sickening. This is the Death Touch Catacombs. We'll be hitting that at the beginning of the next part. There's some very valuable loot in there, to say the least. Crucifix over there with a bit of loot. There are some demi-humans over that way. We'll go and handle them in a moment. But first, we are heading just beyond the Divine Bridge here. And from here, as we head northeast, there is yet another golem. Another chance to get the halberd to drop, but like the one that we fought last time, this one does not respawn. But let's just go up. Oh, this halberd is blocking us. Charge our 2 to the foot. Charge our 2 to the foot. And one more. A very, very easy, very clean fight. Definitely do it with something with a nice critical. But there we have it. A nice chunk of runes. No item for us, but he was guarding something pretty interesting. Something that we could definitely put to use. And that is some herba. I'm only kidding. It is the Lance Talisman. The Lance Talisman enhances attacks on horseback. This is a fantastic talisman, but it does have its limitations. It will increase your damage on horseback by 15%, but only for melee weapons. Unfortunately, bows, incantations, sorceries are not impacted by this, but if you're going to be fighting on horseback, definitely throw on the Lance Talisman as one of your talismans of choice. And let's just head this way. Let's take care of some demi-humans. There's no loot over here that they're guarding, but they're here, and apparently that bothers me. And you know what? Here I am talking about the Lance Talisman and not even using it despite fighting on horseback. But you can see now, what was taking 2 hits is now only taking a single one with this weapon. Very, very nice indeed. It is nighttime, so you can see that the demi-humans all have those glowing eyes. As far as loot goes, the only other item is just over here with these crucifixes. There are a few of these foot soldiers here and one Godric soldier. Godric soldier is dead. One more foot soldier. There we have it. And what did the soldier drop for us? A smithing stone. Excellent. And we get a golden rune level 3. So now, we've cleared just about everything. However, there is an item that I'm now remembering that I'm forgetting. I think that's where the Trina's Lily is. So I do want to show where that is. So give me just a moment. I'm going to actually go back to the Colosseum, and I'll meet you there in a moment. And then we have one more encounter to show off before the end of the video. And there it is. I had to show it. I'm trying to show all of them, and we have a single Trina's Lily right here. My notes were a little off. Just to give you an idea of where we are, there's the crucifix that we were just at where we got the golden rune. The golem was just over there, and just behind us and up on that rock ledge, that is where the captain is that dropped the Ash of War golden bow. Again, one more encounter though, and I'm going to warp back to the War Master Shack and talk about it. Make sure it is nighttime. It is. We're going to fight a nighttime only enemy, and I don't mean the Bellbearing Hunter, and we're going to do so with the Large Club. The Large Club, you remember we picked that up in Southern Limgrave quite a while ago. We're going to use that. We're not going to use Barbaric Roar, however. We're going to be switching that out. We are going to put on the Golden Vow, and I am going to use Sacred on it because the enemy we're about to fight is weak to strike, and it's weak to holy damage. It is very weak, however, to not just holy damage, but anything that does extra damage against the undead, which includes the holy water pots, highly effective against those who live in death. That is the phrase we're looking for, which will keep skeletons from resurrecting. But not everything that lives in death is something that resurrects. So I'm going to make some more of those. I'm going to make as many as I can. I can make another 3, that should be plenty. And I'm going to go show the first encounter with a death bird. Let's hop on Torrent. And what we're going to do, we're actually going to get our bow out now that I think of it, because I did encounter some issues here in some practice. Let's grab some golden sunflowers. There is the troll field. And as we approach those ruins, that's when the encounter is going to begin. But these rams, believe it or not, can give us an issue. So, let's start killing them. Let's approach, and then let's back up. And there it is. It is a horrifying sight to see. And you know what? I should probably also put this on. It's not going to do me much of anything, but this is a death bird, a very, very horrifying enemy, and if you don't know how to fight it, it can be very dangerous. However, holy water pots, as you just saw, can do an incredible amount of damage to it, even if you don't hit it in its head, which I just have. But for now, that works for us. And I just missed, but let's just finish it off with a jumping R2. And if you think, Blue, you just cheese that enemy. No. I just use strategy against that enemy and cheese it a little bit. There is another one that we'll be fighting again fairly soon once we get to a new area known as the Weeping Peninsula. I will show off a bit more melee strategy if you want to see that. But we got the blue feathered branch sword talisman. Raises defense when HP is low. The heart sings when one draws close to death, and thus does one cling so tenaciously to life to render up a death worth offering. When your health is below 20%, this will reduce the damage taken by 50%. If you're completely out of healing and your health is that low and you have time to put this on, great. Otherwise, I wouldn't be running around with this for no good reason. It's a cool looking talisman, however. But that is everything we want to accomplish in this section, what I'll now call Northwest Limgrave. Next time, we're going to be tackling this other section of Northern Limgrave, which we will affectionately call Northeastern Limgrave. I'll just head back to Saints Bridge, where we will pick up the adventure next time. But that's going to do it for this episode of Everything Possible in Elden Ring. And I bet if you watch my other series, you are surprised to see me with a club in my hands. It is a strange sight to me as well. I hope you learned something. And if you did, leave me a comment below and let me know what you learned. And if I missed something, or if you have a better strategy for anything that we've done today, please let me know that too, so we can all keep learning. And if you made it this far and you found any educational or entertainment value out of this video, please subscribe, hit that like button so you can stay tuned for more content. But I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. And I forgot to do that during the fight.